Realty One's very own Daniel Gonzalez leads lap 1 of race 1 for the Australian Prototype Series here at round 4 of the Shannons Nationals, being challenged by Jason Macris, the guy that has car number 1. Well, he doesn't have car number 1, but he is the reigning champion. He's chosen to run with his old number, but he is absolutely out after Daniel Gonzalez. Darren Smith here with Aaron Noonan right alongside me for this race number 1 with the Prototypes.
14-lap race, this one, Darren. We've still got plenty ahead this afternoon. The GT3 Cup Challenge is not far away too with their Jim Richards Endurance Trophy race, but we've had a massive day here. This Australian Prototype Series race is really tight in the opening stages. We saw actually a slow car or two away off the grid, Paul Trengrove. No wonder, first race in 14 years, and he virtually stalled on the grid. He's down the back trying to fight his way back through the order. But it's a good close fight at the front between the pole-sitting car, the Wolf Tornado, with Daniel Gonzalez on screen. There it is, car number 11. But coming back into the game is David Barham in this car, 46. Started on the front row of the grid, but oh, no drama. Macris goes around on the exit of turn 6.
That's the Tornado, the turbocharged.
It's a Tornado,
power plant. That's all right.
Dirt Tornado.
It's a mini cyclone down there at the moment, and he comes back across the track there in front of this group of Wests, the 23, the 5 out there as well. So that is Andrews, Paul Trengrove on return to the sport, and Stahlbaum there as well, making his way into Beasley in there, and Macris now down in 10th. I don't think we've ever seen Jay Macris down that far in a prototype race. It just went around of his own accord. There was absolutely no reason to do that.
Actron Air Replay showed it all. Little Tornado on the infield and managed to get the Tornado rolling again back onto the track and back into the race.
What it's done is put John Paul Drake.
You like that? You giggled, didn't you?
Right back in there. There's giggles all around from that one. Absolutely. So John Paul Drake, the guy, he's one of those guys, if you come to the racetrack and he hasn't got a smile on his face, go home, because it's not a good day to be at the racetrack. He's always smiling. In fact, this prototype field, if you're looking for a really happy place to visit at the track, go and have a look at their garages, because they really love it. These guys there's not a pro race car driver essentially amongst them. They all race very hard. This is jostling for first position in this race and the championship, because Dave Barham looks to the inside. It's been a happy hunting ground here for him on his home track at Queensland Raceway. Gets it done. In fact, gets it done quite nicely. He lined that one up from about the start-finish line, drove on down the inside, and now he's got the Chiron operating right back in that window that he likes it to be in.
And he was slow away from the start of this race to the point where he stalled slightly and had the arms out the cockpit, thinking that he was in big trouble and not going to get moving, trying to alert the field to the fact that on the front row of the grid he was stalled, but he managed to fire it, get going, and he's fought his way back through to the lead of the race now. And you can see those two cars on the road, the Wolf and the Chiron, completely different in terms of their spec and their size. The race-leading car looks about half the size of the one behind it, and he's been able to build margin because his best lap of this race so far is nearly a second faster than Gonzalez.
In fact, quite physically, these cars are quite wide and quite long. They don't look like it on TV. They kind of look like little flimsy things, but they are quite a large vehicle in size. It just doesn't sort of show it. They're so low to the ground. They almost take that GT40 type philosophy and don't be as low as you possibly can to the ground, as Mark Lauke charges through now on John Paul Drake, the two South Australians, and Lauke just absolutely bombed him on that one. In fact, he managed to drive right across and duck back in front of John Paul Drake on the run down to turn 1 that time around. So Mark Lauke's back in contention, and Izzy fiercely back in contention, driving the absolute wheels off it at the moment. Lauke down into the low 8s, an 8-9, and it's only Dave Barham, race leader, who's been down into the 8s now. So Mark Lauke, for the first time this season, on a full set of proper spec prototype control tyres, and look at him go.
And for those who don't follow this series, Darren, there's been a bit of an issue with the tyres over the course of the year. To explain just the reason behind it.
It was a bit of a late deal, and we'll have the tyres signed here. If you sign here now, we'll have them for the first date, and then some bits and pieces toing and froing, commercial reasons in motorsport, and then it got done a little bit later than what they would like to, but eventually we'll get there. There's tyres for them to run on, but running on the proper sticky set of tyres. When you're only doing 14 and 20 lap sort of races, you can run a good sticky slick race tyre. So they've got them on now, and everyone in the field, I guess it levels it out, because Dave Barham in the Chiron was in the same spec, and the Radicals had the same problem as well, as we see Jason Macris now fighting his way back through. He gets through on Rogie. He's got through on Paul Trengove, returning from many, many years on the sideline. A guy that drove the Formula 4000 or Holden or Brabham, whatever you wanted to call him. But in the Formula 4000 era was when Paul last had a drive. Still a professional in motorsport. He's part of the management team at the Bend Motorsport Park, which we had round 3 of the Shannons Nationals at just a few weeks ago.
And of course it hosted the last round. We go back to the Bend in mid-November, and of course the Prototype Series has its final round that weekend as well for the final weekend of the Shannons Nationals. So is that wrong that Trengove gets to go there and have a race there as well? He knows the place, he works there every day.
Well, I put it to you that the Nationals have gone round the Bend in 2019.
Oh, twice.
Let's walk away from that one.
Yeah, let's move on. Meanwhile, on the racetrack,
Dave Barham smashing it out now.
Yeah.
Have a look at that. He's eased it out to just under 3 seconds now. Gonzalez still driving very, very well. In fact, Realty Lane's very own Daniel Gonzalez in the Wolf Tornado, who's doing a tremendous job. Only reasonably new to the category.
And this is one of those categories, Darren, that's got drivers. It's pretty open, whether you're a young driver, an older driver, a semi-pro, an amateur. You don't have much background. They're cool cars to get into if you're looking to form a way to get into motorsport. This is the way to go.
This guy in the yellow car with Lauke written down the side, Mr. Mark Lauke, the driver of that vehicle, has won a couple of championships in this category.
And he's the fastest man on the road at the moment too.
Absolutely, and he's just getting his head around this car, the turbocharged car. He said to me it's a matter of, he's had a number of spins, and he's a guy that doesn't normally spin, and what his concern is the turbo coming on. He's going to make the move too now on Gonzalez. Looks to the inside, gets covered off. Nicely driven by both of them. In fact, they could have had it coming together, but Mark Lauke, ever the gentleman, and I mean that, behind the wheel and away from the racetrack, an absolute gentleman as Mark Lauke continues the battle. But what his issue is, his battle's actually more inside the car with himself at the moment, Mark. He's having that turbocharged push as the urge of that comes on, is being able to position the car in a straight line so that it can handle that sudden surge of power. Really enjoying it, but it's just a matter of him getting his head around it. He's, if anyone's a thinking man's racer, it's Mark Lauke. He's a tremendous guy and a great racer.
It took 0.6 of a second away from Gonzalez the last time around in that fight for second spot. Lauke with the fastest lap of the race so far, 1 minute 8.47.
So we're just in putting that into perspective, it's about a second off the fastest time of the Big Banger sports sedans. You know, they're running upwards of 750 horsepower. So that's how slick these things are. They just get through the air. It's a matter of carrying that corner speed. Here's the battle again. Lauke looks to the outside this time. Does he carry the speed and do the old switch? The inside, lines it up behind. And out onto the ripple strips he goes and dispatches himself. He did this 12 months ago in his West. Exactly the same manoeuvre. And there it is. The turbo comes on, you're on the painted surface, and around you go.
It's a double grass spin, and that is the second car to be caught out by turn 6 so far today. It's not the place to be when you're trying to challenge for a podium.
He'll be kicking himself because he did it exactly 12 months ago, exactly the same fashion there in his West. But he gets back underway. I don't think he's lost a spot. Yes, he has. He's lost 2 spots there. John Paul Drake and defending champion Jason Macris go through. As here we see it again. Yep, out over the back of the ripple strips. These cars are so affected by what goes under them as much as what goes over them. And as soon as you unload that Venturi effect under the car, and he just gives a bit of Denny Ute to work while he's there.
One more to finish it off for good measure. We're on lap 9 here of 14 in this first race, the Australian Prototype Series. It's round 3 this weekend. Round 4 coming up with the next round of the Shannons Nationals at Winton Motor Raceway on the Father's Day weekend. And then, of course, the Bend, as we mentioned earlier, mid-November. And this is Daniel Gonzalez, car 11, fighting back. 2 seconds is the margin between the top 2 here at the line with 5 to go.
Looking forward to that Winton round, of course, the V8 Sleuth touring car, spectacular on that weekend.
Stop it, Darren.
There it is.
Nicely done. Looking forward to it. Yeah, getting some old V8s on the track. Good fun. We'll have TCR there that weekend. We'll wheel out some old touring cars. There's a few different, interesting old supercars.
It's actually going to be one of those rounds where there's going to be something happening on and off the track, isn't there? With all the different touring cars that are going to be coming along. If you're a bit of a historian or a bit of a boffin of touring car racing, make your way along to Wyndham Motor Raceway for the next round of the Shannons Nationals.
Bad sportsmanship flags on display here at the pit straight. Darren, car 5. Paul Trengo is going to pick that up next time he comes around. He's sitting position 7 on the track at the moment.
Too much curbs, too much over the back of curbs, maybe.
I would say probably likely.
Certainly nothing really grabbed our attention. That's always one of those contentious ones, the bad sportsmanship flag. You don't want to see that. It's more like a red rag to a bull when they put that out. You go, you know what, I'm just doing what everyone else is doing. I'm racing for it.
I'm the only one that got busted for it.
I'm returning. You know, I've been away from it. Yeah, I'm the only one. You see the guy in front. David Barham, nice job here. In fact, Daniel Gonzalez from Realty Lane is fighting back there as well. He's just actually eased that gap back under 2 seconds again on the last lap around. So the Chiron has been working very hard in this mid-sector of the race. 4 laps still to go. And the number 46 still leading the way, but it's just being chipped away at the moment as we just watch Mark Lauke storming down into turn 1, trying to return after his spin out of turn 6 2 laps ago. He's still rapid, still doing, well, he owns the fastest lap of this race back on lap 6 and trying to fight back. There's the car we're talking about there, the number 5 of Paul Trengo. And just in front, Carmelo Bonaventura, great bloke as well, one of those guys that comes to the racetrack for all the right reasons. Comes here, have a bit of fun. And like many guys that end up in race cars, glad they found motorsport, because they could have been the kid in the street blowing up letterboxes or doing all the wrong things. Had a chat with him about that a while ago. And he said, yeah, that was me. I was like that. Yeah, that was me. And I said, yeah, me too. I'm glad I put my head under the bonnet of a race car, because I could have caused a fair bit more trouble in the neighbourhood. But Carmelo Bonaventura does a terrific job, and he's radical, and he's leading the way in the radical trophy at the moment.
One of the things for our viewers who might not have seen much of the Shannons Nationals or the prototype series, we talked about the range of different cars and the different chassis, different engines too. There's lots of different sounds out there on this field.
Yeah, certainly. We're just hearing going past the pit lane now, the West, which is 1000cc Suzuki Hayabusa or Kubi Kawasaki engine. Have a look at this. This is a race now. Macris goes through on John Paul Drake, and we're just starting to see the difference between the CN and the turbo-charged Tornado. So the turbo car is the green one. The normally aspirated is the gold and black one. Marina Mirage car gets through. This is the battle that fought out all of last year between these two. And to the line there as well, a couple of Wests that we were just talking about, Noons, with the different power plants. Of course, the Radicals, they're the ones that run the 1500cc Hayabusa through a more traditional type of transaxle, if you like, a quafe type differential. The Wests are a chain drive, motorbike, motor, 1000cc, like this car we've got here, the number 70, and the one in front of it, the number 23, a motorcycle engine with a chain drive. Yes, a chain drive. So very little amount of differential type of effect you can get with a Radical. And when we see inclement weather, the Radicals and these newer Wolves as well start to come into their own, because they've got the differential that can be used by the driver to better use than just the direct drive chain driven type of effect. Still through a gearbox, but the final drive aspect is via a couple of cogs. A very, very effective way of doing it, and certainly not an expensive way of transmitting drive. And that's, I guess, what the beauty of the West has been. And don't forget that for 5 years, the West dominated this series. It's the new generation of cars coming through, and it happens in all forms of motorsport. Having said that, the car leading the race, the Chiron, is probably the oldest car in the field by quite a long way, being driven very, very well and prepared, kind of like Tony Ricciardello's Alpha in the sports sedans, being prepared to within a millimetre of its life every time it goes out on track. There's no bolt unturned or checked or replaced or had a life expectancy put on it, replaced whether it needs it or not. And this is why he leads the race. Big spin there. That's the West. Not too sure who it was.
I think that's Stolbom down at turn 1. Car 70 in among the smoke and the dust and the dirt.
It's the ex-Jason Macris car. He's currently sitting in P3, so yeah, it is the Stolbaum car, Glenn Stolbaum, a Queenslander in his WX10, doing a good job. And running after him here, Daniel Gonzalez from the race driver from Realty Lane.
I think we're aware. Lauki's broken his own fastest lap of this race, 1:08.07 last time around. Sits 5th at the moment after that spin earlier on. We've had 2 members of the spin club at turn 6. Probably running out of time here on the final turn to get another one.
Not that it's going to matter now, because no one's going to challenge the Chiron of Dave Barham now. He returns to the front spot here in the Prototype Series, his place that he owns at Queensland Raceway. He's made it a very happy home, as Dave Barham, taking out 3 of the wins last year from that spot, and he leads the championship coming into this round as well, with Mark Short, who unfortunately the South Australian not here this weekend in the LS Prince. So he'll drop back a spot, not coming to this round, and it's Gonzalez home in 2nd place. Jason Macris in 3rd. John Paul Drake holding off the charging Mark Lauki after he bought a ticket to the Spin Club out of turn 6. And unfortunately, Lauki was challenging for that spot on the podium, as we've got position change coming towards the line now. The last couple of cars on track with Rodgie and Androas as they get there. So Barham wins the race in the Chiron LMP 3-001. Daniel Gonzalez in the Wolf Tornado. Macris in the same type of car. John Paul Drake in the GB08CN, normally aspirated Wolf. Then it is Mark Lauki in another Tornado. Carmelo Bonaventura for Melos rendering in the Radical SR3. Paul Tringo returning to motorsport in the WR1000. Dave Rodgie again in a West WR1000. And Phil Andrews also in one of those. Adam Beasley in the car number 27, Fractures United SR3. Radical getting home in 10th place. As we go down to pit lane with Eminata Francesca.